US President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky have expressed renewed optimism for peace following a positive hour-long phone call. Zelensky stated that lasting peace can be achieved this year under Trump's leadership. The conversation marks a shift from last month's tense White House meeting, signaling progress towards diplomatic alignment. The two leaders discussed the possible US ownership of the Russian-held Zaporizhzhia power plant, along with new US commitments to help Ukraine secure additional air defense systems from Europe. Secretary of State Marco Rubio confirmed that defense staff from both nations will closely coordinate efforts as battlefield situations evolve. Praised the call as very good on Truth Social. Putin remains resistant to insisting that Ukraine must stop. Zelensky, however, a partial ceasefire, particularly halting strikes on port infrastructure. Meanwhile, European leaders have begun summit talks in Brussels on defence and the economy that are expected to stretch into the night. Shortly, Volodymyr Zelensky leaders on his call with Donald Trump. Ruslan, thank you very much for joining us on this conversation. How do you perceive President's optimism in these talks with Donald Trump? Relationship, actually, given that so seem to have soured beyond repair.
I think it's a political ordeal because is to show the good cooperation and good relation with the administration and in general after the time and the Ukrainian United States cooperation talking about the freezing in the United States support and aid in previous weeks and in Oval Room of White House during the meeting between the presidents. So the diplomatic play, I think, on the eyes, but I'm sure that the Ukrainian government, the Ukrainian president is worried about the future because the geopolitical situation is changing very fast, and the demands from the both sides, from Russian state side, also toward Ukraine, is also rising up.
Ruslan, U.S. ownership of the Russian-held power plant was mentioned. How realistic do you think this scenario is, and what are the possible implications for Ukraine's sovereignty and energy security?
As I saw Ukraine surprised by this suggestion from United States. There is a rumor in Ukraine that of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. It's a question which United Ukrainian opposition before, some Ukrainian people, members of opposition. And I don't think this is a very, very real situation because it needs with the Russian Federation is held in this for now. And this nuclear power plant more than cost United States dollars, and it will be very significant concessions from Russia. What the states could suggest for Russia to change the Zaporizhzhia nuclear to say for now. The Department, the United States United States is ready to take or buy or achieve all Ukrainian nuclear power plants. We have 4 in Ukraine now. And it looks like the Trump administration are trying to achieve as much as they can from Ukraine to return some money back which was spent in Ukraine during the previous years.
Ruslan, that's what I wanted to ask you about next. Donald Trump has had conversations directly with President Zelensky and President Vladimir Putin within hours of each other. What do you think, what are you making of his mediation efforts and diplomacy skills in the outcomes of these talks?
In any case, you're absolutely right that there is a significant shift of dialogue about the future of the conflict. Because in previous time, not Ukraine nor Russia was ready to talk about the ceasefire and the ending of the hostilities. Now they are ready, they're discussing this with the United States administration. But this is only one significant shift for nowadays. Because if we are diving into this dialogue, we see a lot of contradictions between sides which are unresolved for this moment. It looks like that United States made a main partner for this dialogue from Russian side. This is my main track of this dialogue. And United States Ukrainian and United States European track, like a Russian Chinese track, it's additional track to this main Russian-United States dialogue. And between United States and Russia, there is a dialogue, there is a change in oppositions, there is a common concessions and so on. But if you are talking about the Ukrainian United States track, it's only an information about the future of the possible peace, future of the possible balance. It's quite different.
Ruslan Bortnik, thank you very much for joining us in that discussion. We now move to some news from Europe. Turkey has detained